Greetings everyone, and thanks for tuning in for this paranormal pit stop. Tonight, we'll be exploring a historic preserved former combat zone located off of North Dixie Highway out of Monroe, Michigan. This expanse contains the site of the Battle of Frenchtown, and it's recognized as the only national battlefield park commemorating a site of the War of 1812, rumored to be roamed by spirits lingering long after the bloody confrontation. Are you sure you're ready to brave the history and hauntings of the Raisin National Battlefield Park? Historically, from January 18th through the 23rd of 1813, and amidst the War of 1812, the Battle of Frenchtown would transpire in and around the settlement of Frenchtown, right where modern-day Monroe now lies, and initial engagements, being the first battle of the River Raisin, which occurred on the first day of the conflict, would result in a resounding American victory. However, their adversaries, being the British coupled with native forces, namely the Potawatomi, would retaliate quickly, and on the 22nd would launch a savage counterattack right at the same location, resulting in massive bloodshed and pandemonium amongst the troops of inexperienced Kentuckian soldiers who were not well prepared and unable to retreat. Following the battle, American Brigadier General James Winchester would report that of his 1,000 men, only 33 would escape the battlefield that day, with 397 killed outright and 547 or so taken prisoner. Incidentally, this would mark the fight as actually the deadliest conflict ever across Michigan soil, and the single worst defeat suffered by America through the entirety of the War of 1812. Conversely, the British would report only 24 fatalities and 161 injuries, and native casualties were never documented. On January 23rd, native parties would proceed to loot injured and incapacitated Americans at Frenchtown, and any prisoner who could still walk was marched to Fort Malden as ransom, while those who couldn't were executed. Preceding their departure, these war parties would actually set fire to the community's buildings housing their wounded, while those who couldn't keep up on the journey to Detroit were killed as they fell behind. On February 18th of 1956, the battle's main zone was listed as a Michigan State Historic Site. On December 10th of 1982, it was honored on the National Register of Historic Places, and through July of 1990, the Monroe County Historic Commission and the Monroe County Historic Society would open the River Raisin Battlefield's Visitor Center to the public, which offered a museum with a slew of relics uncovered through archaeological investigations. More recently, in 2010, the River Raisin National Battlefield Park was added to the National Park Services, and while it would be open to the public in 2011, to this day the park remains under development in order to meet the NPS's standards, with some obstacles depending on prospective fundraising, and entire areas still in need of restoration. In the present, the River Raisin National Battlefield Park remains open to the public, offering a mess of multi-use trails, including the River Raisin Heritage Trail, a visitor and education center, countless exhibits, events, and more. Chillingly, through the battle, many of those lost were never given proper burials or honors, and in as recently as the year 2000, scattered human remains were unearthed on the property. Incidentally, and surprising exactly no one, long-standing local legends claim the whole of the River Raisin National Battlefield Park is haunted by the spirits of the many lost across its literally blood-soaked grounds, and both staff and visitors to the site have reported a slew of inexplicable phenomena, including disembodied voices, shouts, and the cries of war, the phantom scents of gunpowder, smoke, tobacco, or burning flesh, and the constant feelings of being watched or of being surrounded by a multitude of presences unseen. Within the visitor center, several objects have been sighted moving around on their own. Odd scratching, knocking, and crashing noises have been detected seemingly emanating from within the walls. Many have told of disembodied whispers and footsteps, and of doors opening and closing on their own, and a handful of accounts detail run-ins with both misty entities and with ominous shadowy figures. Several informal investigations of the expanse have yielded high EMF fluctuations, chilling EVPs, and orbs in strange forms captured in photography and video, while others have told of phantom pains that shoot through their bodies, or of instances in which the structure is rattled to its very core by ghostly cannon fire that entire groups play witness to. Reported across the whole of the park and confined to no area alone are instances of guests being stricken by overwhelming bouts of sadness or despair that only dissipate once they've left the site entirely, and even full visions of both the battle or of the horrific massacre that followed that fade away in the blink of an eye. Lastly, by far one of the River Raisin National Battlefield's most infamous apparitions is easily that of a spectral girl in a billowing white dress, who's often viewed wandering about, seemingly searching for something or someone, maybe even for a lover who was lost in the carnage. On a darker closing note, some have theorized that instead, this young woman may have been a citizen of Frenchtown who was deemed not able to make the journey to Detroit for ransom, and who was slaughtered like a wild animal before the war party set off. Thanks for tuning in for this Paranormal Pit Stop. If you enjoyed hearing our histories and ghost stories, subscribe to our channel, like this upload, and share us with anyone you think could use a good scare. We'll catch you all next time.